Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today's topic is something really interesting and relevant: the role of English in higher education. For those looking to study abroad or advance academically, English is often essential, as it's widely used in universities and research worldwide.
Yes, and in this episode, we'll discuss why English has become the main language in higher education globally and how mastering it can open up incredible academic and professional opportunities. Plus, if you're looking to improve your English skills, listening to conversations like these can really help you get comfortable with different expressions, vocabulary, and even build your listening confidence.
Exactly. We'll cover how English is used in different academic areas, how it can support collaboration, and even help with accessing resources. By the end of today's episode, you'll understand why English is so important for students and educators alike.
And as always, we'll be sharing some tips and real-life examples to make learning relatable and practical. So let's get started and dive into how English plays a crucial role in higher education.
Daniel, when we talk about English in higher education, one of the first things that comes to mind is its status as the global academic language. Universities worldwide conduct courses and publish research in English, making it easier for international students and scholars to collaborate and access information.
That's right, Jennifer. English acts as a bridge between cultures and academic communities. A student from India, for example, can study in Germany and still use English as their main medium of instruction. This global reach of English makes it accessible for students and professionals in diverse fields.
And that makes it so valuable, doesn't it? Because even if you're studying a subject like engineering, biology, or psychology, knowing English allows you to read research papers, textbooks, and other resources published in different parts of the world.
Absolutely, and this helps students stay up to date with the latest developments. Imagine trying to learn about the latest scientific findings only in your native language. It would limit your access. With English, students and researchers have a broader perspective.
One major benefit of English in higher education is how it facilitates collaboration. When researchers from different countries work together, English is often the common language they use. This way, projects can involve diverse perspectives and expertise.
Yes, Jennifer, collaboration really thrives because of this shared language. For example, if a team from Japan wants to collaborate with scientists in the UK on a project, they'll likely use English to communicate and share ideas. Without a common language, such projects would be much harder to manage.
And it's not just research. English helps students collaborate in classrooms as well. International students studying together often communicate in English, which allows them to share their ideas and learn from each other's experiences. This cross-cultural exchange enriches the educational experience.
It sure does. Students learn so much from each other when they can communicate openly. By working together in English, they not only complete projects more effectively, but also build friendships that can help them in their future careers.
Now, let's talk about how English provides access to a wide range of learning resources. Many academic journals, books, and online courses are published in English, and knowing the language opens up these resources to students worldwide.
Exactly, Jennifer. Imagine a student interested in environmental science. Some of the most influential research in that field might be published in English. If they understand English, they can read these studies and learn directly from the experts.
That's so true. And with online platforms like Coursera or eggs, where many courses are offered in English, students can continue learning beyond their university. They can pick up new skills, get certifications, and stay updated with advancements in their field.
And even after they graduate, knowing English helps them stay engaged with their field's literature. This continued learning is essential for anyone who wants to be successful in today's fast-paced world.
Another important role English plays in higher education is in academic writing and presentations. Students need to write essays, research papers, and these is in English, especially if they're studying abroad. It can be a challenge at first, but it's such a valuable skill.
Definitely, Jennifer, and academic writing has its own style, structured, concise, and evidence-based. Students learning to write in English for academic purposes also improve their ability to communicate complex ideas clearly, which is helpful not just in academia but in any professional field.
Presentations are another aspect. Whether it's a project proposal or a research finding, presenting in English helps students build public speaking skills. They become more confident, and this confidence is an asset in any international setting.
Yes, and even if public speaking isn't their favorite thing, learning to present in English gives them an edge. It's a skill that will serve them well in their careers, especially in multinational organizations where English is often the main language.
When we look beyond just university life, English skills become even more crucial for career advancement, especially for students who aim to work in international settings. Many companies, whether they're in finance, tech, or engineering, require employees to be proficient in English to communicate effectively across borders.
That's so true, Jennifer. Imagine a graduate with a degree in software engineering. If they're fluent in English, they can apply to companies worldwide, not just in their home country. This opens up so many more opportunities and allows them to be part of global projects that require English as the primary language.
And it's not just about job applications. Once someone starts working, they'll likely need to attend meetings, write reports, or even communicate with clients in English. Companies prefer candidates who can adapt to these situations because it enhances their productivity and efficiency.
Right, and for anyone interested in leadership roles, English is even more important. Leaders in multinational companies need to motivate and communicate with diverse teams. Knowing English allows them to express their ideas clearly and ensure everyone is aligned, no matter their cultural background.
And the confidence gained by learning English in higher education can help immensely in the professional world. Being able to participate in discussions, share ideas, and negotiate in English gives graduates a competitive edge in the global job market. Now, let's discuss how using English in higher education isn't only about academics. It also helps students develop confidence in social situations. Many students attend networking events, social gatherings, and extracurricular activities where English is the common language.
Yes, Jennifer, and these informal settings can be as important as the classroom for language practice. When students participate in these activities, they naturally improve their speaking and listening skills. This way, they're not just learning vocabulary and grammar, they're learning how to interact comfortably in English.
Exactly, and confidence in social settings often transfers to the academic side as well. Students who practice speaking in English outside of class find it easier to ask questions, join group discussions, or even give presentations in class. It makes the entire learning process smoother.
Plus, this social use of English encourages students to adopt more natural expressions and phrases which aren't always taught in textbooks. They start using slang, idioms, and even humor, which makes their English sound more authentic and engaging.
And let's not forget that learning a language socially also helps students build meaningful relationships. When they can communicate freely with people from different backgrounds, it fosters a sense of belonging, which can make their university experience so much richer. Now, for any listeners who are currently studying or planning to pursue higher education, let's talk about some strategies to improve English for academic purposes. One approach is to focus on reading academic articles, journals, or books in your field of study. This familiarizes you with the language used in your area of interest.
Yes, and practicing writing is equally essential. Start by summarizing articles or writing short essays on topics related to your field. Academic writing has a unique style, so the more you practice, the better you'll get at organizing your ideas clearly and logically.
And don't underestimate the power of group study sessions. Studying with friends or classmates in English helps you learn from each other and get comfortable with discussing complex topics. It's a great way to test your understanding and refine your speaking skills.
Another practical tip is to watch lectures or educational videos in English. Many universities share course material online, and platforms like YouTube offer countless resources in English. This exposes you to academic language and helps with listening comprehension.
Finally, actively participate in class discussions. Don't worry about making mistakes every time you contribute. You're getting valuable practice. Over time, you'll feel more comfortable expressing your ideas and engaging with others in English. Let's also address some common challenges students face while learning English for higher education. One major hurdle is the difference between conversational and academic English. Academic language is often more formal, precise, and can include complex terminology.
Absolutely, Jennifer, students might feel comfortable with everyday English but struggle with academic terms and structures. It's a completely normal part of the learning process, and it's something that improves with practice. Reading and writing in English as often as possible is key.
And there's also the issue of imposter syndrome, especially for international students. When studying in a foreign language, students might doubt their abilities or worrying about not measuring up to their peers. It's important to remember that making mistakes is part of learning.
Yes, and everyone goes through it at some point. Building a support network can help a lot. Talking with friends who are also learning English or reaching out to professors for guidance can make the experience feel less intimidating and more manageable.
And if you're ever unsure about something, ask questions. Most professors are understanding and willing to help. They know that adjusting to academic English takes time, so don't hesitate to seek help if you need it. Another aspect of studying English in a global environment is exposure to various accents and dialects. Universities often have students and professors from all around the world, so you might hear English spoken with many different accents. This can be challenging, but also incredibly valuable.
Yes, exactly. When you first encounter different accents, it can feel overwhelming. But over time, this diversity in English accents can help you become a more adaptable listener. You start picking up on patterns, adjusting your understanding, and improving your listening skills in a way that's beneficial beyond academics.
And understanding different accents can be a huge advantage in any international career. In a globalized world, you're bound to interact with English speakers from various backgrounds, so this exposure during university is a great learning opportunity.
One way to get comfortable with different accents is by listening to media from different English-speaking regions. Try watching movies, TV shows, or even YouTube videos from different countries. It's a fun way to broaden your listening skills and become more adaptable.
Exactly, and remember, it's okay if you don't understand every single word at first. Over time, your brain adapts, and you'll notice you start understanding much more, even if the accent is unfamiliar. This adaptability is an excellent skill to have in any English-speaking environment.
Let's also touch on how being bilingual or multilingual can be an asset in higher education. For many students, English is not their first language, and they may worry about not being native level, but in reality, being bilingual can enhance cognitive skills and even offer unique perspectives in learning. Absolutely, Jennifer. Studies show that bilingual individuals often have better problem-solving abilities and cognitive flexibility. When you're fluent in more than one language, your brain is constantly switching between languages, which enhances overall mental agility, a huge advantage in higher education.
And it's not just cognitive skills. Bilingual students often bring a unique cultural understanding to discussions, which can enrich learning for everyone. Different viewpoints and experiences can make classroom discussions more insightful and broaden perspectives for all students.
Plus, being bilingual or multilingual means you have access to a wider range of resources. For instance, if you're studying international relations, you can read materials in both English and your native language, giving you a broader understanding of the subject.
That's so true. So, instead of seeing it as a challenge, bilingual students should recognize their language skills as a valuable asset in both academic and social environments. Another effective way to strengthen your English skills is to connect learning with your personal interests. For instance, if you enjoy sports, read articles, watch interviews, or even join online discussions about sports in English. Integrating English study into your hobbies makes the process enjoyable.
Exactly, Jennifer. When you're genuinely interested in a topic, you naturally engage more deeply. So, whether it's music, fashion, technology, or history, immerse yourself in English materials related to those interests. It doesn't feel like studying, it feels like discovering more about something you already enjoy.
And doing this also exposes you to specialized vocabulary that's relevant to your interests. Over time, you build a strong vocabulary in a specific area, which can be incredibly useful if that topic is related to your field of study or future career. Absolutely, and it also boosts confidence. When you can comfortably discuss something you're passionate about in English, you realize how much progress you've made. It's a fantastic way to build both fluency and self-assurance in your English skills. One of the most fascinating aspects of higher education is its global research opportunities, where English plays a key role. Most international journals, research papers, and academic conferences operate in English, making it essential for anyone who wants to share or access cutting-edge knowledge from around the world.
Exactly. Researchers from diverse countries often collaborate on major projects, and English serves as the bridge that enables these exchanges. Imagine working with people from 5 different countries. English becomes the common language that allows everyone to contribute effectively.
This is especially true in fields like science and technology, where breakthroughs often rely on collaborative work. By being comfortable with academic English, students are not only prepared to participate in these collaborations, but also to initiate their own projects and ideas on a global stage.
And collaborating in English doesn't just improve language skills, it enhances cultural understanding too. As you work with people from different backgrounds, you learn to communicate respectfully and adjust your communication style to be clearer and more inclusive.
Yes, and these skills clarity, adaptability, and cultural sensitivity are valuable not only in academia, but in any professional field. It's about building connections and learning from others, which enriches both your knowledge and your perspective on a topic.
Absolutely. Jennifer, this ability to engage in global research networks through English is a powerful asset, opening doors to knowledge that might otherwise be limited by language barriers.
Another key area in higher education where English is vital is in presenting ideas, whether it's for a class, a seminar, or even a conference. Being able to explain your thoughts clearly and confidently in English is a skill that's highly valued and often practiced in university settings.
And public speaking, especially in English, can be intimidating, but with practice it becomes easier. A good starting point is to practice speaking about topics you're comfortable with. The more you talk about something familiar, the more naturally the language will come.
True. Practicing with friends or even recording yourself can be a great way to improve. Listen back to identify areas you could clarify or enhance. And remember, it's okay to take your time to think. Speaking slowly and clearly is much better than rushing and losing your audience.
Another tip is to organize your presentation in a logical way. Start with an introduction, move through your main points, and then wrap up with a conclusion. This structure helps the audience follow your message, which builds their understanding and your confidence.
Right, and the more comfortable you become presenting in English, the more confident you'll feel in other areas, too. Presentation skills translate well into conversations, interviews, and professional interactions. It's a foundational skill that enhances overall communication.
Yes, and remember that even native speakers practice these skills. Public speaking is a challenge for most people, but with English, it's also an opportunity to become more expressive and clear in your ideas.
Listening is another fundamental skill that often goes hand in hand with speaking. In higher education, especially in English, strong listening skills are essential for absorbing lectures, understanding discussions, and following complex arguments in academic contexts.
Absolutely. Sometimes listening can even be more challenging than speaking because of the variety of accents, speeds, and vocabulary used. However, actively practicing listening, whether through podcasts, lectures, or audiobooks, can significantly improve comprehension over time.
One effective approach is to listen with a purpose. For instance, when you listen to a lecture, focus on identifying the main points and noting down key terms. This way, even if some details are unclear, you capture the core message and context.
Exactly, Jennifer, and don't hesitate to use subtitles or replay parts you find challenging. Repetition is a powerful tool for improving listening. Over time, your brain adapts, and you'll notice a gradual improvement in your ability to understand spoken English.
And as your listening skills grow, so does your capacity to engage in conversations and discussions. Listening isn't just passive, it's active learning that improves your vocabulary, comprehension, and even pronunciation as you pick up on nuances and intonations.
That's right. Listening in English is like exercising a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger and more natural it becomes, making you more confident and effective in any academic or professional setting.
Another essential skill in higher education is critical reading. In English, this involves not just understanding the content, but also analyzing the arguments, evaluating sources, and considering how the information applies to your own studies or research. It's a deeper level of engagement with the material.
Exactly, Jennifer. When students first encounter academic texts in English, it can be overwhelming due to the dense language and complex ideas. But breaking it down into smaller sections and summarizing each part helps. As you get comfortable, you start noticing recurring themes, argumentative techniques, and ways of presenting evidence.
One tip I find useful is to highlight or underline key terms and phrases. Academic texts often introduce new concepts, and emphasizing these terms helps create a visual reminder. Later, it's easier to review these highlighted sections and get a sense of the text's main points.
Good idea, Jennifer. Another approach is to write a brief response after each section. This reflection reinforces comprehension and starts to build a dialogue between the reader and the text. And for English learners, summarizing in their own words is a great way to check understanding.
Yes, summarizing forces you to process and restate the information, which enhances both your understanding and your retention. Plus, as you progress, it builds confidence in tackling more complex material. Critical reading becomes second nature over time.
Absolutely. Developing this skill makes it easier to engage in academic discussions as you've done the groundwork of understanding and thinking critically about the material. It also helps in writing assignments since you're able to reference and critique sources effectively.
Let's not forget that writing is one of the most essential skills in higher education, especially in English-speaking environments. Academic writing has its own structure and style that takes practice to master. The main goal is to convey your thoughts clearly, logically, and with supporting evidence.
And Jennifer, that's often where English learners struggle knowing how to express complex ideas in a clear and concise way. One good strategy is to start with an outline. Structuring your main points before you start writing helps maintain clarity and prevents unnecessary repetition.
Absolutely. And keep your sentences direct and simple, especially at the beginning. Academic English doesn't require overly complex sentences. Often, it's about making your point as straightforwardly as possible. You'll find that clarity strengthens your argument.
I agree. Additionally, when supporting your points, make sure to reference credible sources. In higher education, citations are crucial for validating your arguments and adding authority to your writing. Using sources properly can also demonstrate your understanding of the topic.
That's a great point. Proper citation not only shows respect for other scholars' work, but also provides a roadmap for readers to explore the sources themselves. And over time, the process of citing becomes a natural part of writing.
Yes, and the more you practice writing with these techniques, the better you'll get at conveying complex ideas in English. Academic writing is all about communicating knowledge clearly, so with time, it becomes an invaluable skill both in education and beyond.
In higher education, understanding and practicing academic ethics is incredibly important, especially in English-speaking institutions where ethical guidelines are emphasized. Academic ethics involve honesty, integrity, and respect in all your work, whether it's writing, research, or collaboration.
Exactly, Jennifer. For many students, understanding plagiarism and avoiding it can be a bit challenging, particularly in a new language. But universities in English-speaking countries take it seriously. So, making sure your work is original and properly cited is key to maintaining ethical standards.
Definitely. One helpful habit is to take careful notes during research and clearly mark which ideas are yours and which come from sources. When you sit down to write, it's easier to distinguish between original ideas and references, making proper citation simpler.
And it's good to remember that ethical research also involves presenting information accurately. Misrepresenting data or exaggerating findings goes against academic integrity. Being honest with your work, even if it doesn't yield groundbreaking results, is more valuable in the long term.
That's so true. Ethical academic work builds trust with your readers, peers, and professors. It's the foundation of credibility, and for English learners, it's a valuable learning opportunity in respecting the nuances and responsibilities that come with academic communication.
Absolutely, Jennifer. Practicing academic ethics not only strengthens your own credibility, but also helps you contribute responsibly to the academic community. It's a skill that will benefit students far beyond the classroom.
Let's talk about listening skills, which are essential for academic success, especially in English-speaking environments. Effective listening is more than just hearing. It's about actively processing and understanding the information being presented. In lectures, for example, professors often use complex vocabulary and nuanced phrasing. Learning to follow along and take meaningful notes is a skill that comes with practice.
Absolutely, Jennifer. Active listening requires focus, and sometimes students feel overwhelmed trying to absorb everything in real time. One technique that helps is to focus on key points rather than attempting to write down everything word for word. Identifying main ideas can provide a structured approach to note-taking.
That's a great strategy, Daniel. Another approach is to listen for transitional phrases or keywords that signal important points. In English, these transitions, like on the other hand, for example, or in conclusion, are often indicators of major ideas or shifts in the argument. Learning these signals can really help students stay on track.
And for English learners, practicing by listening to recorded lectures or academic podcasts can be beneficial. They can pause, rewind, and replay sections to ensure comprehension. Over time, this builds both vocabulary and the ability to follow complex discussions at a natural pace.
Exactly. And understanding academic vocabulary in context is crucial. Over time, recognizing and interpreting these words in different contexts improves listening comprehension. This allows students to connect ideas faster, making academic discussions much more accessible.
Yes, Jennifer. Listening skills take time to develop, but they're invaluable. As students progress, they'll find it easier to participate in discussions and follow intricate lectures, which greatly enhances their overall learning experience in English-speaking environments.
Engaging in academic discussions is another key component of higher education in English-speaking institutions. Discussions allow students to express their ideas, challenge different perspectives, and deepen their understanding of the material. But it can be intimidating for English learners at first.
It's true, Jennifer. Many students worrying about making mistakes or not being understood. But one thing to remember is that academic discussions value ideas over perfection. Starting with simple sentences and building up to more complex arguments as confidence grows can be a good approach.
Definitely. And it's also helpful to prepare by jotting down some points or questions ahead of time, especially if you know the topic in advance. This can provide a bit of structure, making it easier to participate actively. Plus, listening to others' responses gives insights on how to structure your own contributions.
And for English learners, it's okay to ask for clarification. Phrases like, "Could you explain that a bit more?" Or, "I'm not sure I understand, could you repeat that?" are useful tools in discussions. They demonstrate engagement and give students a moment to process the conversation.
Good point, Daniel. And sharing your own experiences can make contributions feel more personal and relevant. Often, academic discussions are enriched when students bring in diverse perspectives. This makes the conversation more dynamic and encourages other students to consider different viewpoints.
Exactly. Academic discussions are a two-way exchange of knowledge. They help students grow their confidence, improve their speaking and listening skills, and learn to respect different opinions. For English learners, each discussion is a chance to refine their language skills and deepen their understanding of the subject.
To wrap up, let's talk about resources that can support English learners in higher education. Universities in English-speaking countries often offer language support services like writing centers, tutoring, and workshops. Taking advantage of these resources can make a significant difference.
Absolutely. These services are invaluable. Writing centers, for instance, often have staff who can help students with academic writing, from brainstorming ideas to structuring essays. And the best part, most of these services are free for students.
Yes, and libraries usually offer extensive resources as well. Many university libraries have online databases where students can access academic journals, articles, and ebooks. These resources provide high-quality references that support research and writing tasks.
That's right, and some universities even have conversation partners or language exchange programs. These programs pair English learners with native speakers, allowing them to practice conversational English in a relaxed setting. It's a fantastic way to gain confidence and make friends.
Another great resource is online language platforms and tools designed specifically for academic English. These tools often include vocabulary lists, grammar exercises, and practice tests. They're perfect for independent study, especially for students looking to improve specific areas.
All of these resources can be transformative. With the right support, English learners can thrive in higher education, developing both language and academic skills that will benefit them long term. By using available resources and seeking help when needed, students set themselves up for success.
Let's discuss a topic that's vital but often overlooked: managing stress in an academic environment, especially for English learners. Navigating university life in a second language can be overwhelming. Balancing assignments, exams, and social activities while also working on language skills can lead to high levels of stress.
Exactly, Jennifer. Academic life is demanding, and when you're doing it in English, the pressure can be even greater. One approach to managing this stress is time management. By creating a weekly schedule, students can allocate time for studying, practicing English, and, importantly, taking breaks.
Time management is crucial, but so is self-care. Simple activities like taking a walk, meditating, or spending time with friends can reduce stress. When students feel refreshed, they're able to concentrate better, making their study sessions more effective. Incorporating self-care into a routine isn't just beneficial, it's essential.
And let's not forget about setting realistic expectations. Many students feel the need to excel in every aspect of their academic life. While ambition is good, it's okay to pace oneself, especially when learning in a new language. Setting achievable goals can help students feel a sense of progress without burning out.
Another thing that can ease stress is seeking support from peers. Forming study groups or finding a study partner can make the learning experience more enjoyable and less isolating. Having someone to review concepts with, or even just to talk about challenges, can make a big difference.
Absolutely, Jennifer. Stress management is about finding what works for you. It's essential for students to remember that their journey is unique. Balancing academic demands and language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. Taking small steps each day can lead to significant progress over time.
Now, let's turn to a skill that's challenging for many students: public speaking. In higher education, students are often required to present projects or participate in discussions. For English learners, this can feel intimidating. Speaking in front of others can bring anxiety, but it's a skill that can be developed with practice.
Yes, Jennifer, and it starts with preparation. Knowing your topic well and practicing beforehand can make a huge difference. By practicing out loud, students can get comfortable with the material and work on their pronunciation. Repeating this a few times allows them to build familiarity and confidence.
That's so true. And focusing on one's strengths rather than weaknesses can be empowering. For example, some students are naturally good at storytelling or explaining ideas. Using those strengths can make a presentation more engaging and give the speaker a confidence boost.
Another useful strategy is to use visual aids. A well-organized presentation with slides or visuals can help students stay on track and communicate their points effectively. Plus, visuals give the audience something to focus on, which can make the speaker feel less pressure.
And it's helpful to remember that nerves are normal. Even experienced speakers feel nervous before presenting. Taking deep breaths before speaking and maintaining a steady pace can help calm those nerves. Small techniques like these can make a big impact on the presentation experience.
Exactly, Jennifer. Public speaking is a skill, and every opportunity to present is a chance to improve. English learners should remember that each attempt, no matter how small, is progress. Over time, speaking in public becomes more natural and far less intimidating.
Note-taking is another essential skill, especially in a fast-paced academic environment where lectures can be packed with information. For English learners, capturing the main points while also trying to understand complex vocabulary is a real challenge. But there are techniques that can make note-taking more manageable.
Yes, Jennifer, and one effective method is the Cornell note-taking system. This technique divides the page into sections, allowing students to organize their notes, main ideas, and summaries in a structured way. It helps in reviewing the material later and identifying the key points quickly.
That's a great suggestion. Another strategy is to use symbols or shorthand. Instead of writing complete sentences, students can use symbols to represent words, like gives for leads to or plus for adds to. This not only saves time, but also allows them to capture more information in real time.
And it's okay if the notes aren't perfect. Students can go back after class to reorganize and clarify their notes. Reviewing and rewriting notes while the lecture is fresh in mind can reinforce understanding and provide clarity, especially for difficult topics.
Definitely. And if a student misses something, it's perfectly fine to ask classmates for help or clarify with the professor afterward. Many professors encourage questions because they know that everyone absorbs information differently. Asking questions not only clears up confusion, but also strengthens the learning process.
Absolutely. Jennifer, note-taking is a skill that improves over time. By developing a system that works best for them, students can ensure they capture and retain key lecture points, making their study sessions more effective and productive.
Let's discuss networking, a critical aspect of higher education that many students overlook. Networking is about building relationships with peers, professors, and professionals in one's field. For English learners, the idea of networking can be daunting, especially when conversations are technical or involve specialized vocabulary.
Absolutely, Jennifer. Networking can feel intimidating, but it's incredibly valuable. One way to start is by attending events such as lectures, workshops, and conferences where people in similar fields gather. In these environments, students can get familiar with the language of their field and practice casual introductions, which makes networking less intimidating.
And another approach is preparing a personal introduction, sometimes called an elevator pitch. This could be just a few sentences explaining who they are, what they study, and what their career goals are. Preparing and practicing this helps students feel more confident in introducing themselves in English.
Yes, and it can also help to have some open-ended questions ready to keep the conversation going. Questions like, what got you interested in this field? Or what advice would you give to someone just starting out? Show interest and keep the interaction engaging.
That's such a great tip, Daniel. And students shouldn't worry about being perfect. The goal in networking is to build connections, not to have flawless English. Most people appreciate the effort it takes to communicate in a second language and are more focused on the content of what's being said.
Right, and over time, these interactions become easier. Networking provides valuable practice in conversational English and helps students expand their academic and professional circles. It's a skill that, once developed, opens doors to more opportunities in the future.
Today, we have access to so many online resources that can support students in improving their English skills, specifically for academic success. From online libraries and academic journals to language learning platforms, there's an endless supply of resources out there.
Exactly, Jennifer. For instance, websites like JSTOR or Google Scholar provide access to academic papers which help students familiarize themselves with the language and style used in scholarly writing. Reading such materials regularly can improve vocabulary, comprehension, and even writing skills.
And beyond academic content, there are also tools for practicing English itself. Platforms like Grammarly can help students refine their writing by providing real-time feedback on grammar, style, and vocabulary use. Even tools like language exchange apps allow students to practice speaking with native speakers and improve fluency.
That's true, and let's not forget about free courses available on platforms like Coursera or edX. Many universities offer free lectures, which allow students to practice listening to academic English while learning about various subjects. Watching these videos with subtitles is an excellent way to reinforce both subject knowledge and language skills.
Yes, and podcasts are another great resource. By listening to academic or educational podcasts, students can improve their listening skills, expand vocabulary, and get used to hearing different accents. Many podcasts even offer transcripts, which can help with reading practice as well.
Online resources have transformed the way we learn. By incorporating them into their daily routine, students can improve their English skills while staying up to date with their field of study, making them well prepared for both academic and professional success.
Presentations are a major part of university life, especially in English-speaking institutions. Presenting in English can feel overwhelming for non-native speakers, but it's an incredibly valuable skill. For many students, the thought of standing in front of classmates or professors and speaking in English can be daunting.
I agree, Jennifer, and I think one of the best ways to improve presentation skills is by practicing with a friend or even recording yourself. This allows students to listen back and hear how they sound. They can work on pronunciation, intonation, and pace, adjusting as needed to make sure their message comes across clearly.
Yes, that's a great tip. Another thing that can help is structuring the presentation with clear sections, an introduction, body, and conclusion. This format helps presenters stay on track, and if they get nervous, they can refer back to their outline to keep their thoughts organized.
Using visual aids like slides or props can also relieve some of the pressure. Visuals help convey information more clearly and can serve as cues for the presenter so they don't lose their place. It's also a great way to break up the talking, making the presentation more engaging for the audience.
Exactly. And it's always helpful to keep the language simple and direct. Many students think they need to use complex words to sound professional, but clear communication is often more effective. Simple language can convey ideas without the risk of losing the audience's attention.
Finally, practice really is key. The more students practice, the more confident they'll feel. Practicing in front of friends or family can make the experience less intimidating, and with each attempt, they'll notice their English fluency and presentation abilities improving significantly.
Vocabulary plays a huge role in academic success, especially in English. When studying at an English-speaking university, students often encounter terms and phrases that they don't usually use in daily conversation.
Right, Jennifer. One good strategy for building vocabulary is reading academic texts like articles or journals in your field of study. This exposes you to words that are commonly used in that subject. And it's great to keep a notebook to jot down new words with their meanings.
Yes, and flashcards are helpful too. You can make physical flashcards or use an app. Reviewing them regularly is a great way to make sure you remember those words. And if possible, try to use the new words in sentences, whether while speaking or writing.
Absolutely. Context is important. It's easier to remember vocabulary if you know how to use it correctly. Watching academic lectures or even TED Talks can also introduce new vocabulary in context, making it easier to understand how certain terms are applied.
And when in doubt, asking someone is always okay. Teachers, classmates, or even language exchange partners can help explain new words. The more comfortable students get with new vocabulary, the more they'll feel confident in expressing complex ideas.
Yes, learning vocabulary for higher education doesn't happen overnight. But with consistent practice, it gradually becomes second nature. And the more words you know, the easier it becomes to understand and communicate complex concepts.
Critical thinking is a vital skill in higher education. It involves analyzing and evaluating information rather than just accepting it. In English-speaking institutions, students are often encouraged to question ideas and form their own opinions.
That's true. Jennifer, to build critical thinking skills, it helps to read actively. Instead of just reading to understand, students can ask themselves questions about the material. Why did the author write this? What is their main argument? Are there any flaws in their logic?
Right. Asking questions can really open up deeper understanding. And writing responses to what you read is another great way to develop these skills. Reflecting on ideas in writing helps students organize their thoughts and consider different perspectives.
Absolutely. Engaging in discussions with classmates or study groups is also helpful. Explaining your point of view and listening to others can broaden your understanding and help you see things from various angles. It's an important skill for essay writing and presentations as well.
That's a great point, Daniel. It's about developing a curious mindset. The more students practice questioning and analyzing, the better they'll perform academically. And it's a skill that benefits them beyond university, too.
Yes, exactly. Critical thinking helps in all areas of life, not just education. By working on it in English, students improve both their academic skills and their ability to discuss complex ideas in any language.
One big part of studying in an English-speaking environment is participating in discussions, whether in class or group projects. Speaking up can be intimidating, especially for non-native English speakers, but it's a valuable way to improve both language skills and confidence.
Exactly, Jennifer. A good way to start is by preparing some thoughts ahead of time. For instance, if students know the topic for a discussion, they can write down a few key points or questions. That way, they'll feel more prepared and less nervous.
And it's okay if responses aren't perfect. In discussions, the focus is more on sharing ideas than on language accuracy. Sometimes, asking a question or even agreeing with someone's point is a great way to engage without needing to say a lot. Presentations are another big part of higher education, especially in English-speaking universities. Presenting in English might seem challenging, but it's an excellent way to build confidence and fluency.
Definitely, Jennifer. A helpful tip is to practice out loud several times. Saying it aloud, rather than just reading it silently, helps with pronunciation and helps students feel more confident when they actually present.
And recording themselves can also be beneficial. By listening to the recording, they can identify areas to improve, like pacing or clarity. It's a bit uncomfortable at first, but it can really help with refining their presentation skills.
Another tip is to keep sentences short and clear. In a presentation, complex sentences can make it harder to stay on track. Simple language helps both the presenter and the audience understand the message.
Good point, Daniel. Practicing eye contact and speaking slowly are also key. Nervousness often makes people speak faster, so it's helpful to remind themselves to slow down.
Absolutely. Presenting takes practice, but every presentation, big or small, is a chance to improve. Over time, it becomes less about language and more about communicating ideas effectively.
Working on group projects is common in higher education, especially in English-speaking countries. Collaborating with classmates in English can be a bit challenging at first, but it's an incredible way to practice and grow.
Absolutely, group projects teach us how to express ideas, give feedback, and make decisions as a team. If students feel nervous about speaking up, they can start by contributing in small ways, like offering to help with specific tasks or sharing ideas they've prepared beforehand.
Having a strong vocabulary is essential for anyone studying in English. In higher education, students often come across academic terms that might not be part of everyday language.
That's true. A good way to build vocabulary is by reading widely in English, especially articles, textbooks, or research papers related to their field. When they encounter a new word, they should look it up and maybe even try using it in their own writing.
And keeping a vocabulary journal can be very helpful. Writing down new words with their meanings and example sentences gives students a reference they can review later.
Yes, and using those words in conversations or study groups also reinforces them. Just like in any language, the more you use new words, the more naturally they'll come to mind when speaking or writing.
Exactly. Academic English can feel like a separate language, but by regularly exposing themselves to it, students will become more comfortable over time.
Absolutely. The goal is to be able to understand and use academic language in a way that supports their learning and success in higher education.
Listening skills are crucial in higher education. In lectures, seminars, and discussions, being able to follow along and understand main ideas is very important.
A great tip is to listen actively and take notes. Even jotting down keywords helps students stay engaged and retain information. And if a student misses something, they can ask classmates or check resources to catch up.
Podcasts, too, are a fantastic resource for improving listening skills. By listening to different speakers and topics, students get used to various accents, tones, and speeds in English.
Absolutely. Many universities also record lectures, so listening to them again can be a good way to fill in any gaps in understanding.
And don't forget to practice patience. Listening comprehension improves with time and practice, so students should stay encouraged and keep practicing. Yes, Jennifer, and the more they practice listening to English, the easier it will become over time. That brings us to the end of today's episode on the role of English in higher education. We covered so much, from building confidence in discussions to improving vocabulary and listening skills.
We hope today's conversation gave our listeners practical strategies and encouragement to use English as a tool for their educational journeys. Remember, every step you take in practicing English brings you closer to your goals.
Exactly. Whether it's group projects, presentations, or even just asking questions, every interaction in English is a chance to grow and improve.
Thank you all for joining us. Keep practicing, stay patient, and know that learning a language is a journey. We're here with you every step of the way.
Yes, keep tuning into our podcast for more tips and support on your English learning journey. Until next time, take care and happy learning. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. We hope you feel more confident about using English in your educational journey and are inspired to apply these tips to your studies.
Remember, whether it's practicing in a study group, building vocabulary, or refining your listening skills, small steps every day make a big difference.
And don't forget, learning English isn't just about understanding a language. It's about opening doors to new opportunities and knowledge.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Keep listening to our episodes for more insights, and don't hesitate to revisit this one if you want a refresher on these techniques.
Absolutely, we're here to support you in every step of your English learning journey. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and most importantly, enjoy the process.
Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode. Happy studying, everyone.